De regreso aquí en Auto 060 y ahora vamos a tener una entrevista muy interesante desde mi punto de vista porque vamos a hablar con una persona que verdaderamente sabe de lo que hace y que nos va a dar mucha información muy valiosa. I'm going to switch back to English because we're going to talk, as I was saying in the introduction in Spanish, we're going to talk to someone who actually knows what he does, not like me, and he does a really good job. Charles Sanville from the Homo Mechanic. How are you, Charles?
Hey, great, Javier. How are you?
Excellent, thank you. Thank you for taking the time. And Charles and I met recently at an event in Houston for the Shell Pennzoil IndyCar Grand Prix. And talking to him, I found out he's a Volkswagen technician, and I always like that brand. And actually, when people ask me what kind will I buy, I always say I'll buy a Golf TDI. So let's find out if I'm right or not.
Well, I think you're spot on with the Golf TDI right now. That's probably one of my two favorite Volkswagens, and I think if I were in the market for a new car, it would either be a Golf TDI or a Jetta Sportwagen TDI, which, as you know, they share a lot of commonality between the two cars.
Yeah. So, Charles, let me ask you like a more general question, because a lot of people are like just finding out about diesel here in the U.S. In Europe, of course, with the Volkswagen Group, which also has Audi, Porsche, and other brands, Skoda, Seat in Europe, the diesel engines have been popular there forever. But here in the States, it's just like coming up in the past few years, thanks to the Germans mainly. So why is that? I mean, I know there's like the tax situation, but why is that the diesel has not caught up really well here in the States?
Well, I think here in the United States, we have this idea by and large that when you drive a diesel car, you're driving a big old Mercedes that makes a ton of racket and spews black smoke every time you accelerate. And the technology has really come a long way. It's actually quite the opposite. There's a lot of times where in the dealership, we'll be in the shop working, and if you don't know what the diesels sound like, you could have them parked right next to each other and not really be able to tell the difference. It's not like a diesel comes in the shop and it's clacking and making all kinds of noise. It just sounds like every other car that rolls through the shop. So that noise factor has been brought down significantly. The other thing is the soot levels are incredibly low. It's not that smoke machine out of the exhaust anymore. It's actually a really clean exhaust. In some cases, it's actually cleaner than the gas engines that we have, which is really cool. All the catalysts and filters and stuff they put in the exhaust system on the newer diesels is actually mind-blowing how complicated it is. I'll be honest, there's a lot of it that I don't even understand.
And you do that for a living, right?
Right. That's what I do every day. And, you get talking about different emissions components and, what each one does and how it operates at different temperatures. And my eyes get really big, and I kind of lose the folks that are way smarter than I am while they're explaining it. But the way I understand it is very simple. It's, everything is filtered basically out of the engine when it exits the tailpipe, and that's light years ahead of where it was I would say even 10 years ago.
So that's why it makes those cars a little bit more expensive than the gas cars? Like that there's a lot more technology, a lot more components to the engines?
That's definitely one reason. It's tough to say exactly why each car has its own cost, but one, there's a premium on the vehicles because there is right now more demand for it. I remember when I first started working at the dealership, I would go weeks without seeing a diesel car come through, and the folks that did own the diesels were so in tune with their car. Sometimes it could be scary. I remember I had one customer, he was concerned about his fuel mileage, so he made a spreadsheet, a color-coded spreadsheet of his fuel mileage over like 10 tanks of fuel, and you could see the fluctuation of it, and he hands it to me, and I'm like, sir, I don't really know what to do with it.
You can, if you do the shit, you can fix it, right?
That's kind of what I'm at. I'm like, you seriously know more about this than me. So that was our typical diesel customer, 10 years ago. Now, it's not uncommon for me to do 5 or 6 services a day on a diesel, mostly the newer stuff. And and that really kicked up in, I would say, 2009-10 is when the Common Rail, the new diesel, came out. But once the Passat hit the road with the diesel, people were able to get something bigger than a compact car, which is I guess technically what the Golf is. So they could buy a mid-size family sedan with a ton of power and incredible fuel mileage, and that really put a ton of Volkswagen diesels out on the road.
Yeah, there was a recent list of the greenest 2014 cars, and to the surprise of me and other people, I guess, half of them were diesels, and then there were 3 hybrids and a couple of, I think, the Leaf and the Bolt electric cars. So there's also more awareness in the media, in the consumers, and all of that, right?
Right.
So if right now if someone is in the market for, let's say, the Golf, would you either go? What would be the deciding factor in terms of getting a gas or a diesel car?
The things I would look at would be how many miles a year you drive. If you're only driving 6,000 miles a year, I don't know that you're really going to see the benefits of the increased fuel mileage out of a diesel. Diesels like to be driven as the fuel sits. There's actually more biomatter in even regular diesel fuel, and that develop critters basically, and it'll develop algae. So you want to go through diesel fuel as fast as you can. Within reason. So if you're a low mileage driver, I would say even probably under 13 to 14,000 a year, you might do a break even at that mileage, but it would be tough to consider a gas over a diesel, especially because you're paying a premium to buy the vehicle, and you're paying a premium to maintain the vehicle, and you're paying a premium on fuel. So you're paying 3 premiums, and it's going to take more than 10,000 miles a year to really see that benefit pay off.
Yeah. Or
but if you drive a bunch of miles a year and you're committed to maintaining your car, I say go for it.
So the diesels require more maintenance than gas cars?
They generally do. The oil is a little bit more expensive. It has to meet a certain criteria. I think right now on the common rails we're at 50700, and that's just an oil spec rating, so you'll want to make sure that you're using the proper oil. They also have a more common, a more consistent fuel filter replacement, and that's averages 20,000 miles. So it's not 100% more you're spending on maintenance, but spending 20% more on maintenance and not putting very much miles on your car and paying a premium on fuel definitely takes away all those really cool benefits of buying a diesel.
So I guess for people who are green conscious and all that, I think in that case, if you don't drive that many miles, a hybrid will be a better option, no?
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
The way I always explain it is, you buy a diesel when you drive a lot of miles on the highway.
Okay.
You buy most hybrids when you drive a moderate amount around town or in the city. And then when you do, what would be a mixture of driving like what I do, you can really get good fuel economy out of most new gas engines.
Okay, and that's the next question. What do you think is going to happen? Because a lot of manufacturers are going with smaller engines. Mini has a 3-cylinder engine. Ford is coming up also with a 3-cylinder engine, 1.5. So do you think there's going to be a competition in those terms where the gas engine is going to be more powerful and it's going to have better mileage, and then the diesels are going to, the gas, all those factors that you already mentioned. What do you think in the next 5-10 years?
I think the gas engines are definitely going to be getting smaller. They're getting smaller and they're also getting turbocharged. The issue with that is usually when you get small engines turbocharged, the quality of gasoline needs to be higher, so you need a higher octane rating. So that's going to put your diesel fuel and your premium fuel prices very close, with sometimes the premium fuel even being more expensive. I think there's some people that are just diesel people no matter what.
Yeah.
There's some people that say, I'll never own a diesel because it's dirty and smelly. And when it comes down to it, people are going to buy the car that they like, and they're going to get the car that has the fuel economy that they want. And I don't know in 10 years that we're really going to see like the back and forth between diesel's better and gasoline's better. It's going to be this car gets the best fuel economy for what I need, or this car gets the best fuel economy for what I need.
Yeah.
And, the power ratings are going to be similar. Fun to drive factor is going to be similar, because I think driving a diesel is fun. That low end torque is a blast.
Yeah, I know. So what about diesel hybrids? Does those have any future here in the States? I know in Europe there are a few of them already.
When the Jetta hybrid came out, that was the big to-do. Everybody was asking, why aren't you doing the diesel hybrid? Why aren't you doing the diesel hybrid? I think that's coming. Personally, I think that's coming. I don't know that they've got all the nuts and bolts figured out in a way they can release to the public yet. But I expect to see that, and I think that's going to be incredible. That actually might be, the key to the future of us getting incredible fuel economy is a diesel hybrid.
The ultimate answer. Well, Charles Sanville from the humblemechanic.com, thank you very much for your time and for confirming my theory that the Golf GTI is the car for me.
Absolutely, Javier. Thanks for having me, and keep telling people to buy that car.
Thank you. So, the humblemechanic.com, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Este programa fue una producción de National Latino Broadcasting.